doing like a lot of ankle locks yesterday, which is great. But probably the most important thing when dealing with leg locks, especially when you're starting to learn them, is understanding leg control. There's been a myth for a long time that leg locks are really super dangerous, and in particular are far more dangerous than most other submissions. That's total nonsense. Frankly, I've seen far more people get hurt with kimuras and arm bars and everything else than I've ever seen with leg locks. But one of the reasons why leg locks frequently end up being dangerous is not because the leg locks themselves are dangerous or any more dangerous than anything else. It's because people do them without control. In the old days, if I would go in here and go for a heel hook on Cole, I don't have any control of his body right now. I'm just sliding in, grabbing his heel, and looking for something. In order to counter this, all he's really got to do is just roll that way. Roll. Turn your hips. Roll. Yep, just like that. And he's out. Come back. So, because it's so easy for him to escape when I don't have control, if I actually want to finish this heel hook, I have to slam this thing on really super fast in order to get it before he has a chance to react and escape. It's low percentage for me because I have no control, and it's super dangerous for him because there's a good likelihood that I'm going to crush this and break something in here before he has a chance to react. So doing all of this with control is far better, and in order to do that, we need to kind of have a good understanding of the basic leg control positions. So I want to talk about those today so we can start drilling them and understanding how to properly control the legs. Most of the modern leg control stuff comes from John Danaher. 10th Planet has a leg control system that is essentially just an adaptation of that. I tend to use their naming, but it's all the same. So the basic leg control position is what we call ashi garami. I'm shooting one leg through. This goes to his hip. You'll notice my toes are turned out, they're not turned in. This goes to his hip. This leg, different people put it in different places. Some people like to put it all on the same leg. That leaves you open for some sneaky little submissions. I don't like doing that. Bury it over here. If you guys can see, I'm underneath of the far leg, controlling the far hip. And then I'm pushing my knee, preferably down on top of my ankle, so that it's protected. This hand, my top hand, goes to his knee. This is called the saddle horn. I use this to keep his knee in place. And then I've got this leg that I'm kind of laying on that's under control. This is just your basic ashi garami position. There's a lot of different leg locks from this position. I've got ankle locks, I've got heel hooks, I've got everything else, but all of it comes from here. The next position is topside ashi. It's basically the exact same position, except I just pass his leg from the bottom up to the top. Grab the knee again, and my legs haven't really moved. They're pretty much in the same position. Still got a saddle horn in place, locking his leg in there so that he can't just easily pull it out. I've got a lot of the same locks in this position. The heel hook is a little bit different just because it rotates the leg in the opposite direction. I don't personally like doing straight ankle locks and Achilles locks from this position, mainly because I'm so short. I can't really get in a good position for that. There is a really nasty one called the exit wound. It comes up here. That's more of a calf crank, but it's really good. Moving on, if I've got his foot back on the bottom, but now the inside leg, rather than being over here, is now over here. So both of my feet are on the outside. This is what 10th Planet calls this double outside ashi. There's not really as good of ankle locks from this position because I'm sort of angled poorly in relation to his leg to get ankle locks, but I do have a really nasty heel hook that I can hit from here. Foot position is kind of important. I don't want my feet to drift up. They drift up, now he's got leg locks on me, and now we're just playing footsie. That's not what I want. My inside foot stomps right at his hip. My outside foot stomps and reinforces, and now both of my feet are protected. You can do that. Saddle horn in place. There's also some other stuff where you can sit up on this and hold it. This is protected, this is protected. This works just fine. Some people will triangle. If you do that, you gotta make sure that you hide your feet from him. All these are fine, but the most important thing is just make sure that your feet are hidden. Next, same foot position. Just drag his leg to the top. Saddle horn. This is 50-50, because if you look at our legs, we're in essentially the same position. That's a deceptive thing, because if you do this correctly, you're not actually in 50-50. This is more like 80-20 in my favor, because he doesn't have any attacks on my inside leg. His inside leg is up, mine is down. I'm on my outside hip. My foot position is pretty much exactly the same. The saddle horn in place. Got lots of attacks here. Next is honey hold, also known as the saddle 411. So now his leg stayed in the same position. My outside leg wraps around, goes inside. Different people, again, like to do different things. Some people like to stretch that out, hide there. I tend to like to triangle and then hide my foot. Either way, my foot needs to be hidden from him. Saddle horn in place, I'm holding on to it. And then I've got free access not only to this leg, but also if he starts kicking his outside leg up to defend, I can take that, and now I've got either leg locks on this leg or my personal favorite, the Texas cloverleaf, which actually kind of attacks both. So the point of this is understanding what the control positions are, and more so than the basic locks, you want to understand how to get to those control positions and start controlling your opponent in those. And then leg locks tend to just sort of naturally come from there. But if you're doing it with control, it's safer for me, it's safer for him, and the locks tend to be a lot easier to apply. So what I want to work on right now is just a very simple basic ashi garami entry. So we're going to start from here on our butts. One guy is going to have inside control. The other person is going to have their legs on the outside. And all I want you to do is just reach down, whichever side you're going to want to go, cup the ankle, cup the knee. Leg on that side shoots through and under, wraps back around to the hip. This foot goes to the outside hip. Push it down, pull that in, put the saddle horn in place, and just go to ashi and just hold that. Let go, come back, inside control, knee, ankle, slide through to the hip, and then just pinch that. Just pair off, run a few reps with that, get used to the position, try it on both sides, and then we'll come back and we'll start working for transitions for other positions. Ashi entry, there are literally hundreds of ways to get to that position and flow back and forth between different control positions. But let's combine this now with our submission we were working on yesterday, which is our straight ankle lock. So, done now with leg control, we're going to just do the same basic entry. Grab the heel, grab the knee, dive in. But this time, as I'm coming in, I don't want to just simply hold on to this. I want to go ahead and dive my arm through right now. The reason is, if I get all the way down here into ashi, and I've got his ankle pushed back, and now I try to dig in, it tends to be difficult to get my hand in. So I want to do it during the entry, so I'm set up for this. So we're picking the heel, this foot slides through, this hand comes around to my chest, and goes here. Now you'll note I stopped on my elbow. This is not my last position. This is just sort of an initial landing position. Now, our mechanics are basically just what we worked on yesterday in terms of I want to bring my elbows back, I want to bring my chest forward, I want to keep this hand high, and then I want to go into it. Now, in terms of what I want you to do here, you don't want to be on your elbow, you want to be back, laying on top of your elbow rather than balanced up on top of it. I'll show you why. Turn. Turn this way. Yep, there we go. So, here's what I want you guys to watch. I don't want you to watch me, I want you to watch his face. So, I'm on my elbow, balanced on it, and I'm going to do my mechanics for my straight ankle lock. Okay, he tapped. Did you see his face? Okay, I'm going to pull my elbow back. Watch his face now. See how much faster that comes on? The first one is, this isn't great. I don't like that. Okay, it's kind of getting, all right, yeah, I guess I need to tap. The second one is, oh God! Okay, it comes on a lot faster. So when you do this ashi entry, hook, grab the knee, slide in, foot goes to the hip, foot goes to the far hip, collapse down, pull the ankle, pull the elbow back, and then just arch a little bit. If you do it right, you get a relatively quick tap on that. It's a nice, nasty straight ankle lock. It's done with good control, and everybody stay safe. Questions out there?